I'd like to close by answering a couple questions and then tell you a quick short story about something that happened during the film.
What inspired you to create this film?
A lot of pain. I was going through a breakup. The woman I was involved with has a daughter who became like a daughter in my heart. So when the relationship ended, it was a very difficult time. I had a conversation with myself one day that went something like this. Sofia, you either need to jump off a bridge and get out of your misery, or do something you love. Put that sad energy to good use. So I set out to make a film to uncover the dynamic, interconnected, intertwined, resilient relationship between a parent and child because it fascinated me. It started to feel too constricted, too two-dimensional. So I let the film, at that point I surrendered and let the film guide me. I believe I set out what I set out to uncover, I uncovered, and so much more. It became a self-exploration through love. When we look deeply at our lives, when we think deeply about our lives, a door opens for us in the future. Whether that takes the form of an opportunity, a resource, a fraction of peace, however that's absorbed in our life, it's always on our side.
Hi, Sophia. Thank you so much for this film. It was lovely. How long did it take you to make it, and what cities, what places in the world did you go to film?
I filmed for 2.5 years. I traveled through 18 cities, and then another year of editing. So 3.5 total years, 18 cities.
I just wanted to say thank you so much. You cannot believe how much I needed to see that, and it was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Sophia, I love the people on the street that you interviewed. How did you get them to interview with you?
That's actually a good story. It's a story with a moral, so I'll tell you the moral first. Life rightly guides us if we let it. I found out through an email after I settled into my hotel room that my interviewee had canceled while I was in flight. It was too late to cancel my scheduled camera crew, and I was already in New York City. I walked over and looked out at the view of Central Park, and it hit me. I immediately called the crew and said, "Be prepared to work outside tomorrow. We are interviewing people on the street." That event birthed the idea of interviewing random people on the street whenever I was in a large city. The street interviews added a fundamental element to the film that became such an important part of the whole message. It added the human element to the film.
Hey, Soph. Did your personal experience with adoption have any impact on the interview you had with the woman that gave up her son for adoption?
I wasn't adopted, but my beautiful nephew back there was, and I'm sure any part of my life had an impact on how I interviewed people and what I looked for when I did. So I would imagine, yes. Did that help you?
Yeah, I believe it did.
I mean, her answer, did that help you?
Yeah, the second answer helped more than the first one.
Sure.
So thank you for that.
Sure. Well, I'd like to close with a short story. It's a fun story. Often I'm asked, what were the challenges while making the film? And there's just so many. It's like picking a name out of a hat. Which one? But there is one that is a lighthearted story. I arrived at the Agape Spiritual Center to interview Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith. I was told to go ahead and set up in the auditorium. When my crew and I walked into the auditorium, the sounds of the air conditioners were so loud, it would have definitely been picked up on the audio. So I got with maintenance and asked them, hey, can you shut off the air conditioners as soon as we finish setting up and right before he comes down for the interview? That happened, and there was still a hum coming from the ceiling. So we all look up, and about 50 feet high in the air, suspended from the ceiling, is a small motor that ran the emergency lights. Now, my sound guy had a brilliant idea to cover it with a sound blanket. As I'm climbing up a ladder, going about 50 feet in the air, held by 4 men I just met that day, with a sound blanket draped over my shoulder, I knew at that moment there was nothing I wouldn't do for this film. I enjoyed sharing this evening with you. Be safe going home.